Hello, in this video we will learn how to solve multi-step equations. The steps to solving inequalities are these. Step 1, you need to solve the variable the same way you'll solve an equation. So undo your orders of operations, do the opposites. Okay, and then step 2, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to reverse the direction of the inequality. So this always applies with inequalities. If you ever multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you need to switch the sign. Otherwise, you're just going to leave it alone. And then step 3, make a number line if the problem tells you to. Okay, so let's go ahead and do example 1. So for example 1 is 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to 23. I want to figure out what values of x makes this true. So first, step 1, I need to solve it like an equation, so I'm going to undo subtraction by adding. Let's add 5 to both sides. Okay, I'm left with 2x is less than or equal to 28. Okay, I left the sign the same because I just added the both sides. Okay, now let's divide both sides by 2, and I'm left with x is less than or equal to 14. So what this tells me is that any number less than or equal to 14 should make this true. Let's test out a number. Actually, let's graph it first. Okay, so less than or equal, I need to show all the numbers less than or equal to 14. So I'm using a closed dot, okay, because I'm including 14. Okay, closed dot says I'm including the point, and then all the numbers that are less than are over here to the left. Let's try out 12. Okay, so let's put it back into the original problem. 2 times 12 is 24, minus 5 gets me 19, which is less than or equal to 23. So seems like it's good. Okay, let's try example 2. Alright, so I want to solve negative 6y plus 5 is less than or equal to negative 16. First off, let's undo addition by subtracting. Okay, so take away 5 from both sides. I'm left with negative 6y is less than or equal to negative 21. Alright, my next step, I'm going to divide by a negative 6. Okay, so we're dividing both sides by negative 6. Alright, so whenever you divide by both sides, ask yourself, okay, am I dividing by a positive or a negative? Okay, here I'm dividing by a negative, so my sign is going to switch around. Okay, so on the left I'm left with y, on the right going to be negative 21 over negative 6. Two negatives make a positive when I'm dividing, so y is greater than or equal to 21 6. Let's reduce that. Okay, so if I divide 21 and 6 by 3, I get y is greater than or equal to 7 halves. If you made that a decimal, you would have y is greater than or equal to 3.5. Okay, and then let's go graph that. Okay, so the values to make this true are greater than or equal to 3.5, so close dot, and to the right. Okay, so all of these numbers over here are going to make this true and continue. It goes on forever. Okay, example 3. Okay, this one we have a fraction, we have parentheses, so let's figure out how to do that. Okay, if you're thinking, hey, I could just add 12 to both sides, okay, that actually does not work. You do not want to add 12 first. Okay, reason why, in order to undo this subtraction, I first need to undo these parentheses. Okay, if you think, if you were to evaluate the problem, okay, first you would do parentheses and then you would multiply. When you undo, you need to go backwards through your orders of operations. So first you would want to, in this case, you need to undo the multiplication first. Okay, so you would have to undo the multiplication or use the distributive property. But using distributive property, I get negative 1/4 p. It would get a not so good looking problem. So let's multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal of negative 1/4 is negative 4. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 4. Okay, negative 4 times negative 1/4 gets me 1, and 1 times p minus 12 is just p minus 12. Okay, negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. And I multiply by a negative, so the sign is going to switch around. Okay, so I'm left with p minus 12 is less than 8. Okay, get p by itself, let's add 12 to both sides. So now I'm left with p is less than 20. Alright, so the value is less than 20. I'm not including 20. Okay, anything less than 20 is included though. Alright, so this is the graph that shows the values less than 20. Alright, last example. Let's try example 4 here. I have variables on both sides. We need to get the variables just on one side. So let's take away 2x from both sides, and I'll be left with 4x minus 7 is greater than 17. Alright, now this is like the other ones. We need to undo subtraction by adding. So now I have 4x is greater than 24. Let's divide both sides by 4. I'm now left with x is x and 6. Does the sign stay the same or switch? Well, I divided by a positive, so it's going to stay the same. There it is. So x is greater than 6 is my answer. Okay, so I'm not including 6, but I am including everything bigger, so that is my graph. Okay, and then I am all done with the examples. Okay, so with, yeah, let's... Okay, next I want you to try out these examples. So try doing these on your own. It goes all the way down to 13. So try these out. Okay, if you have any leftover time, go ahead and start your homework. We will check these with a couple minutes left in class.